Good morning, parents and community members. Thank you for joining us. This is our third Coffee with the Superintendent here at Local District Northwest. My name is Gonzalo Garay. I'm the Administrator for Parent Community Engagement, and I'd just like to welcome everyone. It's a beautiful sunny day in Southern California, and even though we're in the dead of winter, it's supposed to be 82 degrees out here. I guess that's why property value is what it is. But then again, we got the Rams in the Super Bowl. So hopefully you've gotten your coffee, your donuts, and we just have some great information, reports from our operations, from our instructional, from our PACE, and of course, our superintendent. So we're going to get the program started. And please, for interpretation services, please choose your language preference by clicking the globe button or the three dots. And for ASL interpretation, you can find a video labeled ASL and pin it by clicking on the three dots in the top right corner of the video. And again, we just want to remind you that this meeting is being recorded. That way we have the ability to share it with other folks, our schools, and even other members in our community. We ask you to please sign in. We're going to drop this link into the chat box. Please sign in using the link, and that way you will have access to all the information, our slide decks, all the information. It'll be readily available to you. So please take a moment. Again, we'll drop this link into the chat box. Go ahead and click it, give us your information, and that way you can have all the information. Again, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Gonzalo Garay. I'm the Administrator for Parent Community Engagement. It is my honor to serve Local District Northwest. I am a Valley boy. I was born and raised in this valley, a graduate of Reseda High School. So thank you for joining us. I'd like to briefly review our agenda for the day. We will have greetings by our board member from Board District 3, Mr. Scott Schmelson. We will hear a report from our superintendent, Mr. Nacorda. We will also have an operational updates, giving you some information. We will also have instructional updates. And then we will also have a presenter from Student Health and Human Services. And I myself will give you some updates from Parent Community Engagement. And lastly, we will have an opportunity to meet with your COAST administrators. And at this point, it is my honor and privilege to introduce our Local District Northwest Superintendent. And again, someone from the Valley, Mr. Joseph Nacorda. Mr. Nacorda, take it away.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Garay. Good morning, Local District Northwest parents. First and foremost, happy 100th day of school. Wow, thank you for joining us this morning. To start us off, please join me, parents, in welcoming our board member from Board District 3, Mr. Scott Schmelson, who is joining us this morning. Okay, Mr. Schmelson will be joining us shortly.
Yes.
So what we'll do is we'll continue on our presentation and have our board member join us when he's here. So at this time, again, thank you. Good morning, Local District Northwest parents and families. Happy 100th day of school. Thank you again for joining us this morning. Thank you, parents, for your continued partnership this school year in ensuring a safe learning environment for our students during this most challenging year. Thank you to our awesome parent and community engagement team led by Mr. Gonzalo Garay, who has always orchestrated a great coffee with the superintendent with a lot of updates for us all. So first and foremost, we, the team at Local District Northwest, have some important updates and information to share with you this morning. Our continued focus on safety and instruction is important to ensure a safe and rigorous learning environment for all students. Los Angeles Unified will continue to collaborate with our health partners at the county and state levels, as well as our panel of medical experts and university partners. This morning, our Local District Northwest team in operations, instruction, parent and community engagement, and our Community of Schools administrators are here to present important updates for you parents. We'll have updates from operations, Dr. Bryant and Mr. Arroyo on health and safety protocols. We'll have instructional updates from Dr. Kim, Mr. Mella, Ms. Stevens, important programs and dates coming up this spring semester and summer. We'll also have some parent and community engagement updates, Mr. Garay and team, as well as we have a great guest speaker from Student Health and Human Services, Ms. Frances Marion. Our communities of schools. LA Unified is structured around communities of schools serving the needs of our school communities. In Local District Northwest, with our 126 schools, we have 6 communities of schools and their teams comprised of leaders in instruction, operations, parent and community engagement, health and human services, special education, instructional technology, together all supporting our schools and families. You will have an opportunity to meet with your school's community of schools administrator and team later this morning for updates, questions, and answers. So starting with the Canoga Park Chatsworth Community of Schools located at Lawrence Middle School, led by Miss Mary Melvin, Community of School Administrator and team. Next, we have the Cleveland Community of Schools located at Northridge Middle School, led by Miss Deborah Sherino, Community of School Administrator and team. We have the Kennedy Nos Voss Community of Schools located at Porter Middle School, led by Dr. Donna Gilliland and team. We have the Reseda Community of Schools located at Mulholland Middle School, led by Dr. Eric Maxey, Community of School Administrator and team. We have the Taft Community of Schools located at Woodland Hills Academy, led by Dr. Denise Collier and team. And we have the Monroe Community of Schools located at Sepulveda Middle School. For Monroe Community of Schools, I want to take this time to thank Mr. Scott Braxton, our interim Community of Schools Administrator for the Monroe Community of Schools, who has graciously returned to serve and leave after retirement for the fall semester. So thank you, Mr. Braxton, for your service and leadership for our Monroe Community of Schools. At this time, I'd like to introduce our new Community of Schools Administrator for the Monroe Community of Schools, Mr. Roger Avila. Mr. Avila will officially start his new role next week as the Monroe Community of School Administrator. He comes to us as our COVID testing and operations support services coordinator for Local District Northwest. Mr. Avila.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Mr. Nacorda, for the opportunity to join such an amazing team of champion leaders, and also to be able to have an opportunity to serve our community, our parents, our students, and just to do the work that was previously being done with our wonderful and beloved Ms. Cara Schneider, who we all miss tremendously, and we know that the legacy that she left behind, it is my charge, it is my honor to be able to do the work and to continue the work and to bring excellence to our Monroe community of schools. I'm just super excited and thankful for this opportunity to be able to use my experiences as a prior administrator, both of elementary school and middle schools. And also I have a background with operations. And as you all know, for the last year and 2 months, I've had the opportunity to support all our schools and our amazing principals, 127 schools, and our amazing leaders who have worked relentlessly to provide a safe environment for our students. As we know, it's been challenging. It hasn't always been smooth, but one thing is for sure is that we've always provided excellence to our families, and safety is always going to be the first priority for all of us, because we know if we provide a safe environment for our students, it's going to be will provide a better place for our students to learn. So I just want to personally also thank our school leaders, because without them, I can tell you from my end, it seems like it's a challenging assignment at times, but for them, they've had to serve not only as the principals, but also as the COVID liaisons to the work that we're doing, always with the priority of serving our students and providing them with a safe environment. So to all our principals, thank you very much. To all our parents who've been patient along the way, I thank you very much as well. I've had 19 years of school site administration and a little over 2 years combined between operations and now as the testing and operations support coordinator, supporting our local district Northwest. You know, I was a principal at Canoga Park Elementary School. That was my most recent administration assignment as a principal. I chose to step away and do the work that I'm currently doing because it was very near and dear to my heart after seeing loss of life and seeing how important it was to bring our students back. It was something that I really, really believed in, and I dedicated myself to it. And I will continue to be that type of servant leader to our community, to our schools, to our principals, and especially to our students, because I know that they deserve the best, and the best is what I'm going to be able to provide and bring to them every single day that I have life, right? But on that note, I have had experience not only in LAUSD schools, both in the local district Northeast, which is local district Northeast now. That's where I started my career at Haddon Elementary School. But also I've served in independent charter schools. So I have experiences in both areas. And I'll bring and blend those experiences with me, provide innovation to our schools, and with the always with the commitment to improve instruction and improve the outcome for the lives of our students. I've always had a motto, which is for our students to learn like champions, for our teachers to teach like champions, for myself and all our leaders to lead like champions, and also for our parents to parent like champions. And as I've mentioned before in other places, every time I left a message, I always said, thank you for parenting like a champion today, because I'm thankful to have been raised by two amazing parents. They're no longer with us anymore, but their legacy lives on, and the upbringing that I was provided was very humble, very similar to the families that I will support in our local district Northwest Monroe community of schools. But I also know that that humble upbringing is what drives me. I'm very similar to many of the students in our community, and I feel that that's something that really, really connects with me, and I hope to be able to connect with our families on that same common ground. My humility will continue to be part of my servant leadership that I will provide on a daily basis. You know, I speak Spanish, so I look forward to practicing my Spanish for our parent center directors and the community and our parents, and just to be able to reignite hope for our community, to let them know that in each one of these schools, each one of the 21 schools in the Monroe community of schools, that there is amazing opportunity for our students to succeed, to be able to live the dreams that they deserve. Many of our parents, immigrant parents, came to our country for a reason, right? To be able to improve the outcomes of their children as well as themselves. So I take it very seriously. I will work tirelessly to do my best for each and every one of you and your children. And I officially begin on Monday, February 14th, which will be probably the most memorable Valentine's Day of my life. I do believe that we have to love on our students like it's no one's business. So what a perfect day to begin, right? And just to share that love, because I think that when we love what we do, we rise to a whole different occasion for our students. And so I hope to transfer that type of passion to our school leaders, to our teachers, and to our students, and to be as available to you as possible. And if I may, I'm just going to say a couple words in Spanish. Buenos días a todos los padres que nos están acompañando hoy en esta mañana. Es un placer para mí para poder tener esta oportunidad de poder servirle a usted como el administrador de la comunidad de Monroe. Estoy muy, ¿cómo le diré? Feliz para tener esta oportunidad. Sé que va a ser mucho trabajo, pero ustedes lo merecen. Merecen todo lo que yo pueda dar a usted, y me dedico a este trabajo, me dedico a ustedes, y es otra vez, como les digo, es un placer estar aquí, y espero conocerlos más pronto. Muchas gracias. So thank you so much, Mr. Nacorda, for this opportunity, and to the community, the Monroe community of schools. I look forward to serving you and to continue the work, as I said in the opening, that Ms. Cara Schneider started, and Mr. Nacorda, who is a diehard Monroe, I should say, hero, right? And champion, so that we'll continue to do wonderful things. And by all means, please, I have an open mindset. Whatever you may have that will help us to do our work better, I'm all ears. So thank you, Mr. Nacorda. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Avila, and thank you, Mr. Braxton. Our Monroe Committee of Schools look forward to your leadership. Thank you for being the Northwest Star COVID Testing and Operations Coordinator, serving all our families in local district Northwest. Mr. Garay.
Thank you, Mr. Nacorda. Mr. Nacorda, I'd like to now introduce our board member, board member Scott Schmelzer for Board District 3. I know he's juggling many meetings, but we are grateful. He's always here for our parents. He's always attending our meetings with our Parent Center directors, all of our community events. So Mr. Schmelzer, thank you so much for taking the time to be here, and please take it away, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Schmelzer.
Thank you. You too, Mr. Garay. And I was so happy to listen to Roger Avila. I worked with him when he was principal at Canoga Park Elementary School. What a great guy. What a great teacher. What a great administrator. So thank you very much. So good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Schmerlson, the LAUSD board member for Board District 3. And I represent about 80 schools now within the local district Northwest. And I do appreciate your being here this morning to hear the latest updates. So I'm happy to share that Mr. Alberto Carvalho will officially begin his tenure as LAUSD Superintendent on February the 14th. For 13 years now, Mr. Carvalho has served as the superintendent of Miami-Dade Public Schools, the county's 4th largest school district. In Mr. Carvalho, we once again have an educator leading our district, and I couldn't be more thrilled. The search for a new superintendent spawned several months, and I want to thank everyone who completed our survey, participated in the focus groups, and called in to the board meetings to share your thoughts. In other news, the board's Family and Community Engagement Committee, which I chair, will reconvene this Thursday, February the 10th. And what is our committee? Well, it's composed of 21 stakeholders from everywhere in the district. The meetings are streamed live in English and Spanish, and there's time for public comment at the end of each meeting. So everyone, if you can visit the link on the screen to access all these meeting materials, here's a preview of the 2 agenda items. First, we're going to talk about how oral health impacts our overall health, strategies to prevent tooth decay, and resources to access free and low-cost dental care. So you may think, well, is oral health that important? Well, I need to tell you that people who have very bad oral health can affect their brain and their heart. It sounds unbelievable, but having tooth decay stay for a while, it can actually affect your brain and your heart, and sometimes can cause death, all because of tooth decay. So that's why it's such an important topic for my committee. The tooth decay continues to be the leading cause of chronic illness among children. Here in LA County, disparities across socioeconomic and racial lines still persist, with Black and Latino children disproportionately impacted by this oral disease. And before I was on the board, I was a principal for many years, and I can't emphasize how much maintaining healthy teeth helps our kids to come to school ready and focused to learn. The committee will also discuss Senate Bill 830. And Senate Bill 830 is a proposal that would move California to allocate funds to school districts based on enrollment rather than attendance. And if this bill is passed, it's expected to dramatically increase funding to districts like LAUSD. And if you're interested in learning more about how to engage in these advocacy efforts, I encourage you to tune into this meeting. And listen, if there are topics that you would like our committee to address moving forward, please visit bd3.info/topics to share your ideas. And lastly, please remind your high school seniors to complete the Fafsa or the CADA by March the 2nd. Local District Northwest is hosting a Saturday drop-in session all month long to provide assistance. And on Wednesday, February 16th, I'll be hosting a financial aid seminar alongside our Assembly member, Josie Gabriel, and my colleagues on the board. So timely completion of these forms enables students to be eligible for financial aid. During the webinar, you'll be providing We'll be providing you rather an overview of each form. We'll make it real simple for you and leaving plenty of time for you to ask questions. There will be Spanish interpretation, and you may visit the link on the screen to register. We'll also share it in the chat. So I appreciate the opportunity to share these updates. Please, everybody, keep in touch with my office. I'm not afraid of your phone calls. Please keep in touch with my office, and you'll find my contact information and social media handles on the screen. Thank you very much. And thanks for letting me talk. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schmelson, for those important updates for our parents, your advocacy and support for all our families and communities in local district Northwest. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Mr. Garay, our Masters of Ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Nacorda, and thank you, Board Member Schmelson. Yes, just thank you for the updates. We are grateful to have our new superintendent, and like Board Member Schmelson is an educator, and just feel great about the new leadership and our current leadership. Again, congratulations to Mr. Roger Avila, another person who I've worked closely with over the years. So thank you, everyone. But at this point now, we'd like to provide you some operational updates. And so it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Deborah Bryant. Dr. Bryant, take it away.
Hi, good morning and welcome to our Coffee with the Superintendent. I just want to welcome you, wish you a great day. The weather is so beautiful, so I hope that you are enjoying this beautiful sun. And I now like to introduce to you Timo Arroyo, who's my lead operations coordinator, and he will share with you the latest operation updates. Thank you again. Stay safe, be well, and enjoy this beautiful weather. Thank you.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. I wanted to share some important information regarding our district's health and safety protocols. LA Unified will continue to collaborate with our health partners at the county and state levels, as well as our panel of medical experts and university partners. Throughout February, Los Angeles Unified will require weekly COVID testing for all students and employees, regardless of their vaccination status. All students and employees will be required to have proof of negative COVID-19 test in order to come onto campus. In accordance with LA County Public Health guidance, regarding the Omicron surge, LA Unified is now allowing TK to 12 close contact students exposed to a positive case in a school setting to stay on campus as long as they remain asymptomatic. This practice preserves in-person learning while keeping schools as safe as possible. Again, daily pass screening is required for all who enter our school campuses, so please visit the website located on your screen for more information. To ensure the health and safety of students and staff, masking will be required at all times, indoors and outdoors. It is required that all students wear well-fitted, non-cloth mask with a nose wire. All employees are also required to wear surgical grade mask or higher. Surgical style disposable masks have multiple layers of non-woven material and a nose wire. LA Unified will continue to provide these kinds of masks to students and employees at school sites if they need them upon request. Please make sure your child's mask fits well and provides protection. The mask should completely cover their nose and mouth. The mask should fit snugly against the nose, the sides of the face, and under the chin without any gaps. Do not wear masks with a valve, bandana, scarf, or a neck gaiter as a mask. Do not use a face shield instead of a mask. Once again, disposable surgical style masks will be provided for our students or staff and may obtain one at entry of their campuses. The visual located on your screen outlines isolation protocols for students and employees for the following: students, employees who have symptoms of COVID-19, students, employees who are confirmed positive with symptoms, students, employees who are confirmed positive with no symptoms. If a student or employee has tested positive, they must isolate for at least 5 days. Individuals who test positive may be released from isolation and return to school on day 6, Provided all symptoms are improving, they are fever-free for the past 24 hours without fever-reducing medication, and have a negative antigen test result from a test taken on or after day 5 into the Daily Pass, and have uploaded the results onto the Daily Pass. And if individual does not test between day 5 and day 10, or test positive on the rapid antigen test on day 5, they should not test again and remain at home and complete a full 10 days of isolation. If an individual completes a full days of isolation, there is no need for them to test in order to return to campus on day 11, provided that any symptoms are improving and they are fever-free for the past 24 hours without any fever-reducing medication. It is important that any externally administered positive test result is added to the Daily Pass as soon as it is received. Please see the visual on your screen that outlines the isolation protocols in more details. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact the hotline located on your screen. The help desk is open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday for any questions about LA Unified and the COVID-19 pandemic. If your child has tested positive for COVID-19 and you wish to take a rapid antigen test on or day 5 of their isolation period to return to school, you can visit one of the sites located on your screen. In Local District Northwest, Holmes Middle School and West Valley Occupational Testing Sites, West Valley Occupational Center are testing sites for return to school work from an isolation. Hours of operations are Monday through Friday from 7:15 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. with select Saturdays in February, open from 8 to 4 p.m. They will be open this Saturday, February 12th. No appointment is needed. It is strongly recommended that students take the test and wait for the results at the location to ensure accuracy and an automatic upload into the Daily Pass. Students can, however, take rapid test at home. However, a photo of the test result must be uploaded onto the Daily Pass and include the individual's full name, date of birth, and date of test on a separate piece of paper, visible on the photo. Next slide, please. In addition, stationary COVID-19 testings are available throughout LAUSD for asymptomatic students and staff. Appointments can be made at dailypass.lausd.net. In LAUSD, Local District Northwest, West Valley Occupational Center, and Zelza Testing Center are our stationary asymptomatic sites. In addition, the Zelza testing site in Local District Northwest is also our symptomatic drive-up testing. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 7:15 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. with select Saturdays in February, open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again, they will be open this Saturday. And then once again, if you have any questions, please contact the help hotline located on your screen. Vaccinations remain a key element in reducing the impact of COVID-19 on individuals and communities. Anyone 5 years or older is eligible for the 2-dose Pfizer vaccine. Booster shots are available for anyone 12 and older and at least 5 months after their second dose. On your screen is the LD Northwest vaccination schedule for this week. Schedules are updated every Saturday with the following week's vaccination opportunities. Next slide. In addition, we are excited to share that the vaccination mobile teams are visiting our middle schools, high schools, and option schools. There will be 3 cycles for the remainder of the year to provide opportunities for our students and community. Cycle 1 is from January 24th through March 4th, Monday through Friday from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Each school site is site listed in Cycle 1 will be visited twice. The mobile team will come for the initial vaccination date and return 3 weeks later. In addition, 3 stationary sites have been identified, as you can see on your screen. These stationary sites will be open on the weeks indicated on your screen from 8 to 3 p.m. I would like to end by sharing the link to the Safe Steps to Safe Schools website located on your screen. I would encourage you to please take the time to visit the website, as it contains many resources and responses to questions you may have regarding COVID-19 health and safety protocols by our district. As you can see on your screen, it provides information on COVID-19 testing, COVID-19 vaccination appointments, links to the district and school's COVID-19 dashboard information, and an updated frequently asked questions. In addition, the information on the LAUSD website can also be translated in other languages. Simply choose your language of choice. Once again, if any questions, please feel free to contact the hotline numbers located on your screen. We are here to support you, and we thank you again for your collaboration in keeping our schools, students, and communities safe. I will now turn it back to PACE Administrator Gonzalo Garay. Thank you.
Thank you, Temo, and thank you the entire operational unit, from Dr. Bryant to Mr. Avila to Temo. You know, at the end of the day, health and safety of our children is our #1 priority, and we're doing the best we can to get back to in-person, as that's where we all want to be. Most of us, our parents, our children are in the district. So thank you, Temo. Thank you for the information. I would now like to turn it over to another one of our fearless leaders, Dr. Margaret Kim. She is, I call her Superwoman because she just has an energy. She works tirelessly for our community, and I'm just so proud to be working with her. So without further ado, Dr. Kim, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Mr. Garay. It is my honor to work with all of you here at Local District Northwest. Thank you, Dr. Bryan, Mr. Arroyo, and Mr. Avila, and the entire operations team. We cannot thank you enough for your amazing support. As we all know, the opening of the spring semester with unexpected Omicron surge was just incredibly challenging, but your leadership and dedication certainly helped us get through the most difficult first several weeks and really made it possible for the instructional programs to continue seamlessly. Thank you so much. And of course, our parents, thank you so much for your trust and continuous support. You know, we are partners and we cannot do this alone. And you've been just amazing partners with us side by side through this difficult time. Thank you so much. Our principals, teachers, and staff continue to work hard to ensure robust instructional programs at all of our schools and have added acceleration and tutoring programs in their respective school sites. Also, there are many efforts to support the social emotional needs of our students to maximize their learning. Please inquire about these programs being offered at your students' schools and be sure to enroll your students in various programs as needed. And also, this is just to inform you, I don't have the actual specific schedule yet, but I wanted to alert all of you that state testing, such as SBAC, California Science Test, and FitnessGram will resume this year. And each school will have their own schedule or the actual testing calendar during the testing window, which extends from March all the way through the end of May. So more information on testing will be sent to you directly from your students' principals soon. And also information only for your information, not specifics yet, but wanted to alert you that as we speak, we are preparing for the summer programs. And we will be having high school programs, summer school programs for both credit recovery as well as enrichment. And also for kindergarten through 8th grade students, K-8 students, we will have programs to strengthen their literacy and math skills. And ESY program for the qualified students, and the virtual enrichment programs will also be offered. And more details will be coming, and we'll definitely share with you as soon as we have the information for you. This morning, I am pleased to have two of our outstanding directors to share helpful information with you. Our Equity Director, Ms. Josie Stevens, will update you on Black Student Achievement Plan and many great programs offered through this program, and also from Local District Northwest. And followed by our A through G Counseling Director, Mr. Ramon Mella, who will also share information with you regarding the family resources for Fafsa application, as well as California DREAM Act application that our board member, Mr. Schmerlson, mentioned earlier. So we have great presentation from instructional department. And I think Ms. Stevens, you're up next. Take it away. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. And welcome everyone. I just wanted to welcome you again and thank you for making the time to be here. My name is Josie Stevens and I serve as your new Equity Director. And this new role is my honor and my purpose to ensure that all students, especially those in specialized and marginalized populations, receive equitable access to resources so that they reach their full potential and have a great learning experience here in the Northwest. Next slide, please. Part of my work in supporting our local district is also supporting the development, implementation, and monitoring of our community of schools, local districts, and our school level Black student achievement plans. Next slide. Many of you may wonder, what is the Black Student Achievement Plan? Well, it is a plan intentionally designed to meet the needs of Black students for their success. This is the first time historically that we have funding specifically set aside to address the longstanding disparities in education and educational outcomes between Black students and their non-Black peers. And the question is, why do we need this? Well, because favorable outcomes for Black students and their communities continue to fall below the district and national averages for averages of their non-Black counterparts. The BSAP plan, which you may hear it called BSAP, it's the Black Student Achievement Plan, addresses the need for culturally responsive curriculum and instruction to be the norm in the classrooms, to foster partnerships with community organizations, to increase staffing, specifically set and purpose to support the success of Black students and their families, and to meet their social emotional needs. And there's no better time to act than now. Next slide. The Black Student Achievement Plan also designates schools. So BSAP 1 schools are schools that have 200 or more Black students enrolled. These schools have to write a plan, they receive funding, they receive staffing. And at this time, Local District Northwest does not have any BSAP 1 schools. But we do have some BSAP 2 schools, and these schools have greater than 100 students. They too have to write a plan. They receive funds and limited staffing to support the needs of our Black students. And then finally, we have also some BSAP 3 schools. These schools have somewhere between 50 and 100 students. They also have to write a plan and have received funding. And at this time, Local District Northwest has 13 BSAP schools, 4 that are BSAP 2 and 9 that are BSAP 3. If you look at the next slide, you will see that we have 5 high schools designated as BSAP schools, 5 middle schools, 2 span schools, and 1 elementary school. With this BSAP plan, the schools, the coast, and the local district level, they're all designed to fortify the strengths of our students and intentionally invest in their social, emotional, and academic success. We first start with making culturally responsive instruction the norm in all the classrooms. And we do this through professional development work for our teachers, like through our math equity series, BSAP lesson planning, collaborative cadres, so that we all work toward that norm in the classroom. We also work on fostering a college-going culture in all classrooms. And we even support that here at the local district by having what we call graduation roadshows with our various schools to ensure success of our students. We also provide school teams supports and strategies to identify and disrupt inequitable pathways And then finally, we do a lot to partner with our parent and community-based organizations, starting with, we have monthly BSAP, Black Student Achievement Plan Parent Advisory Council meetings. Love to invite you to that. I'm gonna share that information with you in just a moment. Along with student mentoring programs, parent empowerment opportunities through CSUN. We have a partnership with Pretty Brown Girl, West Hall's Greatness Academy, and many, many more. Next slide, please. And before we talk about how you can get involved in our parent leadership, I want to share that registration for Pretty Brown Girls is open. And these flyers, you may have seen them circulating around at your schools. The local district is sponsoring 4 elementary age groups with our Black Student Achievement Funds. We're encouraging Black girls in grades 3 through 5 to participate. The links for the flyers will be provided to you by your principal also, and also from your community of schools leaders. Please note that some of our middle school and high schools will also be offering programs through Pretty Brown Girls specifically through their school. Next slide. And the next one I'm excited to introduce is also another mentoring program for our young men. It's West Hall's Greatness Academy. The local district will be supporting this great opportunity for our boys in grades 3 through 5. Next slide. Please be on the lookout for those. And I want to just let you know that our parent partnership is strong, and we just had a wonderful event this past weekend. Our African American Parent Empowerment Summit was great. We had many of our leaders here on the call were involved, and it was just a great success. I mean, we maxed out the Zoom. And these are opportunities and things that we get to do through our Black Student Achievement Plan to support the engagement with our Black community. I want to invite you to our BSAP Parent Advisory Council meeting. Next slide. Our next one is coming up February 23rd at 5 o'clock. So please feel free to join us. We'd love to hear your thoughts and get your support and your input. This is an opportunity for our parents to actually give some counsel and feedback to our local district. And thank you to Superintendent Nacorda for being so supportive of this group. And finally, before I leave you, I want to offer another opportunity for you to stay informed and engaged by joining our BSAP Parent Schoology group. So please join us. The directions are on the screen. You can take a quick screenshot. And these are just a few of the many initiatives implemented to fortify the success and the strengths of our African American students in Northwest. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Josie Stevens, and I'm happy to serve you. And now I want to turn it over to Mr. Mella.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Good morning, community. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for our Coffee with the Superintendent. And I'm Ramon Mella. I'm the A2G Director for Local District Northwest. I just want to say congratulations again to Ms. Stevens we really had a wonderful Saturday with our African American Family Summit. That was such a big success, right? Now I would like to give some information to our parents, particularly for our families with senior students, right? It is that time of the year for you to start thinking about to start completing your application for the Fafsa, which is the Federal Student Aid. There is a video link that we are putting on the chat. I think they've just put that in there. These are video resources on how to open your free online application online, and then other resources on how to complete the form. But then parents and families also remember that your high schools have college counselors that you can actually call and contact and get some support regarding how to complete that work, right? All the high schools are ready for you to be able to connect with them and then and get that particular support that you might need, right? So contact the school counseling office of your high schools and make sure that you reach out to the counselors for you to be able to go get support regarding that, right? But just in case that you are not available during the week and you would like to have support on Saturdays, we have been, and Mr. Schmerelson actually mentioned it earlier during the meeting, that Local District Northwest is providing Fafsa support on Saturdays. We have 2 more Saturdays that are scheduled, on the one this Saturday, the 12th, and then the last one will be on the 26th. We do have some students that have been joining us and getting support, and it's so nice to see like our parents or student actually on the Zoom together and working with our college counselors one-on-one and getting the personalized support and completing that form, right? I believe we will also be dropping the link to the flyer in the chat. We're not just like offering support for FAFSA, but also for the DREAM Act application. So therefore, if you need help, join us on Saturdays 9 to 12, and the Zoom link information is right there on the flyer. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us again today. And back to you, Mr. Garay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mella. Thank you. Truly appreciate the information. You know, I remember when I was a senior applying for the FAFSA, you know, I'm a person who comes from poverty. And so without those loans, without those applications and grants, I would have never had the money to afford it. So thank you for the information, because it truly helps our community, it helps our students, and it uplifts the community. Also, I just want to thank Ms. Josie Stevens. We had a phenomenal event with the Village Nation Partnership, our African-American Parents Summit. I had the honor of presenting a workshop. It was packed, and it was just such a wonderful experience to come together and, what I say, you know, feel the love. Our world is evolving, and it's evolving in the right direction. And just want to say thank you for everyone's leadership. Moving on, we'd like to share some updates with you. And again, I want to remind you that here with parent and community engagement, as the administrator, we also have a team. We have our PACE coaches who are connected to the communities of schools. And so we just want to remind the community that you can always reach out to us. You can find us on our Local District North website. I'll have the team right now put our emails into the chat box, my email, the team's email, because our unit here is really designed to be your advocates. And so if there's any issues or any services you're searching for, please feel free to reach out to us. We will find it. We will do the research. Next slide, please. And so just a few updates we're holding is many of our schools have parent-centered directors who work with our parents and our community directly. They're instrumental in providing resources, but one of the primary roles is to run the parent centers, providing workshops, giving a platform and a space where parents can come together, meet, network, and move that agenda forward for our students in our schools. So we're training our new parent-centered directors this Thursday, February 10th. Also, we've had our LCAP study groups. We've completed those, but now we're in the middle of our ELAC study group. That's the English Language Advisory Committee. And we have our next meeting Tuesday, February 15th at 10 o'clock. These meetings are for Zoom, and they're for our parents and members of the ELAC study group. Also, upcoming is our parent-centered director of professional development, like the principals, like teachers, like coordinators. We work with them once a month. We also provide professional development to our parent-centered directors, which many of you are very familiar with them at the school site. One of the big issues we've been presenting to our parent-centered directors is budget and budget planning. We've provided them training in a budget module series, which looks into needs assessments of the parents and other stakeholders, looking at data, and then finally aligning that data and those needs and writing the plan, which is known as the single plan for student achievement. And lastly, another meeting we'll have is our ELAC study group session number 4, which is Tuesday, March 22nd. Please feel free to share this information so we can get a healthy, robust participation. And so now here at our Coffee with the Superintendent, one of my favorite parts is really to connect with the community, to find resources, to find programs that we can bring, highlight, and hopefully get them into the schools. And so we've had an amazing partnership developed with Frances Marion from the mental health. She's a mental health practitioner from Human Relations, Diversity, and Equity, which is coming out of the branch of Student Health and Human Services. She has presented to our Parent Center directors, and immediately she was getting appointments to go present to our schools. And that's the whole goal, is to present resources so that we can get them to our school sites. She's been doing a variety of workshops, but we also wanted to give her some time today to present to you. And hopefully, if this is of interest, if this is a need at your school site, you can connect with her. We'll have her information, and she can bring workshops and this information to your school site. So without further ado, Mrs. Frances Marion, please take it away.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me okay? Yes. All right, thank you. They're working on the building next to ours, so apologies if there's construction noise. So you have my slides ready, or should I share my screen? Perfect. So again, as Mr. Garay said, my name is Frances. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I work with this unit, HRDE, and I'm the mental health practitioner for all of Local District Northwest. So I'm available to support all of the schools in this local district. Some of the services we provide in our unit are consultation to school sites. So any staff member can reach out to us for consultation. Sometimes that's administrators, sometimes that's individual teachers. We also provide professional development for those school sites, workshops for parents, resources and referrals, as well as some groups that are specific to some of the groups of students that we support. And I'll share more about that in a bit. So I will be sharing my contact information at the end, and I'd invite any of you to reach out at any time. What I came and was invited to present on today was an acronym that we use called Soji. And Soji refers to sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. And we use this term because when we're talking about sexual orientation, gender identity, we want to remind everyone that it's not just LGBT people who have these. We all do. Everyone has a sexual orientation, everyone has a gender identity, and a way that they express that. So I'm going to break each of those terms down a little bit. Next slide, please. Using this fun tool called the Gender Unicorn. So we provide this training to teachers at school sites from early ed through adult ed, and to parents, as I said. And this is a tool we use to talk about these different terms I just mentioned. So as you can see, the little rainbow that's in the thought bubble for the unicorn, that refers to gender identity. So that's what somebody knows themselves to be in terms of their gender. That may or may not be the same as the sex assigned at birth. So if you see also that little DNA strand, that's to symbolize the sex assigned at birth. For example, when a baby's born, whoever maybe delivered that baby might say, congratulations, it's a boy, it's a girl. And that is a determination made usually just by looking at the baby's body. And a lot of times that is a good enough guess. But we also know that there are several people, almost 2% of our population, that don't just fit neatly into that category of boy or girl when they're born. And we call that natural, normal sex variation. We call that intersex. So if you see by the little DNA strand, there's sex assigned at birth, there's female, male, or intersex. So I can just use myself for an example here. When I was born at a hospital in Wisconsin, and they said, congratulations, ma'am, you've got a baby girl. And as I grew up, so my sex assigned at birth on my birth certificate says female. And then as I grew up, I knew that to be true. I identify as a woman, and that feels true for me about my gender. And so my gender identity up here would be woman. And because my gender identity and the sex that I was assigned at birth, you know, what everyone thought I was when I was born, they match, they line up. So I'm considered cisgender, C-I-S, cisgender. Now, for some folks, they're born and somebody makes a guess about what gender they're going to be and assign them the sex at birth. And as they grow up, they realize, actually, that's just not true for me. Maybe they're assigned female at birth, but as they grow up, they know themselves to be male, or they know themselves to maybe not be either male or female. And so that person might be called transgender. And transgender, cisgender, just refers to whether your gender identity lines up with what everyone thought when you were born. The last one I want to highlight is these green dots on the side of the unicorn. These green dots refer to your gender expression. And that's really just what you can see when you look at somebody. So humans, we make a lot of assumptions. We see people and we like categorize them automatically. A lot of times we make assumptions about what someone's gender is based on what we see. So your gender expression could be whether you like wearing makeup, whether your hair is long or short, whether you wear jewelry or dresses, or whether your clothes are from the men's department. These are all gender expression. And we just like to emphasize that you can't tell somebody's gender identity. You can't tell who they are on the inside by just looking at them, just by how they express their gender. And then lastly, you see the bottom two, the little hearts for the unicorn. That's who someone is attracted to, and that refers to sexual orientation. And again, that could be straight, that could be gay, that could be a different term, bisexual, pansexual. There's a lot of different terms. We can't define them all today, but the thing I do want to emphasize is just the importance of asking people what terms they use to define themselves, and then respecting that language. So I know that was a lot of information. Please feel free to ask questions as we go, and somebody can just read them from the Q&A. Otherwise, at the end, I'm leaving time too. So one thing I like to highlight, especially with parents, is that it can feel like there's all this new language, there's all these new terms, and more students are identifying and with labels that maybe aren't familiar to older generations, to my generation even. And I just want to emphasize that gender diversity is not something that's new. It's found in traditional cultures around the world and has been since the beginning of time. And here you just see some photos from around the world that depict genders outside of just that male-female binary that we're familiar with in contemporary US. Next slide, thank you. And this is just a quick example. I don't know if anybody knows who this is. This is a picture of someone from 1884. And this is actually President Franklin D. Roosevelt. So if you look at this picture, you may think that this is a pretty feminine child. Long hair, bangs, little Mary Janes, and the cute little rolled socks and the frilly hat and dress. But this was traditional clothing for boys at the time. So really just to emphasize that all of this is culturally held, it's culturally bound, and it shifts over time. Thank you. And we are so happy to be out and talking to all grade levels about this important information, because we know that students are learning these things about their identity and about themselves at a very young age. So we know that around 3, kids can already label each other, boy, girl. They have a kind of a basic understanding of what's expected of their gender role, about bodies being different. And a lot of gender exploration is very typical and normal in those young ages, we know. But as kids are like around 5 even, we know that kids who may be transgender, or maybe their gender identity is not the same as everybody thinks it was when they're born, they may know that something doesn't feel right, but not have language for it. And we know that when these students are left alone with that confusion and they don't have support and language, they're at risk for negative outcomes, health-wise and socially. So we really want to provide that support as soon as possible. Next slide, please. And just looking at our own data for LA Unified, when surveyed, this is the school experience survey starting at age 6 in 6th grade. And when asked if they identify as LGBTQ, you see about 80% said no, but that means about 20% didn't say no. So that could be that they do identify as LGBTQ, they're not sure, and they're still exploring their identity. And we really want to make sure to support those students. plus 16% of them said that they have a family member. So I imagine there's many family members here today that are also part of the LGBTQ community. And we want to both support our students who are LGBTQ and our students that have loved ones and their families. Next slide. So why is this important? Why did they give me a whole 20 minutes of your precious PD time today? Is we know that the risk is very high for these students if they don't experience support. So specifically 60% of students who are, as we call, gender diverse, they reported feeling suicidal if they did not have support at home. So really, parents and families, unsurprisingly, are the most important protective factor for these students and for their safety. Of the students who felt like their families were not strongly supportive, nearly all of them attempted suicide in the past year. So that's an incredibly alarming trend. And we want to make sure to give families the support that they need and the information and the resources to help keep their children safe. We know that these students are also impacted in school if they don't receive the support that they need. Next slide, please. The opposite is also true. I have the pleasure of giving these very heartening statistics after those really sobering ones. And that is that the risk of suicide drops by nearly 50% just based on if these students have a supportive school. And talk about incredible statistics. The depression goes down 71%. They were 93% less likely to attempt suicide when they perceive strong support from their family. So that is a huge, huge, it's a heartening and hopeful statistic that I hope you all can let sink in as well. Next slide. It's a very straight line correlation between more family support for LGBTQ students, better they do in school, health-wise, and socially. Next slide. And so how can we support these youth? They may be our kiddos, they may be friends of our kiddos. Next slide. Really, the most important thing is what I know we're all striving to do for our kids all the time, which is just express support and unconditional love, even when we don't understand, even when we're frustrated, even when it's hard. These characteristics of family support, it doesn't have to mean that a family fully understands or even celebrates. There's sometimes grief, there's confusion, there's a lot of challenges that can come up if it places a family at odds with their community, with their spiritual community. But there are still behaviors that we can have for our kids that show support, even if we're conflicted on the inside, even if we're still trying to understand. So expressing that love and unconditional support, advocating for them, making sure that the first bullies they experience aren't at home, making sure that their families respecting them, and advocating for them at school if that's needed as well. And of course, connecting them to resources and trusting and believing that LGBTQ kids can and should have a very happy future to look forward to. Next slide. So we have just like a 1.5-minute video, if there's sound. This is a Doritos commercial. I don't necessarily endorse.
Bueno.
Thank you. So I just like to show that video because it illustrates that even when we're supportive, we may not know what to say. We may not know how to communicate, but there is support out there, and even just communicating that unconditional love and support really can be life-saving. So we want to let you know that our department is here, our unit is here to connect parents with resources in the community, such as some of these pictured. Next slide. We also have resources internally. So we have a support group that meets for parents over Zoom monthly, and it's in both English and in Spanish. And we would invite anyone who is interested in learning more about how to support LGBTQ youth to attend. And we also have groups for students. So we have a Rainbow Club, which is also virtual, and that's for elementary school students and anyone they'd like to bring, such as their parents or siblings or friends. And that meets virtually on Wednesdays. That's taking place right now until April. Next slide, please. We also have drop-in clubs for middle and high school students who identify as transgender or non-binary. And these are also virtual, they're drop-in, and they provide a social space for students to connect and learn information and receive support. Next slide. So we have a mental health practitioner in every local district. So if you work in a different local district or you know somebody in a different area, the contact information for our whole team is on our website, which I will post in just 1 second. And I believe this is my last slide, but I will put my contact information. There we go. My contact information is on the screen. I'd love to hear from you. Again, families are welcome to reach out directly. And with whatever time I'm able to take, I'd love to answer any questions or hear any responses.
You know, Francis, right now we're in the webinar mode, which we actually can't, but we take them in the Q&A. But you are more than welcome to join us in our community of schools, which we're about to do the breakout next. And please feel free to jump in and provide any support.
Okay, will do. And I'll drop some links in the chat now. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, just, you know, the information Francis provides is truly, but it could save a life. And, you know, it's, I feel very honored to have her present with us. She's worked with our Parent Center directors and now Coffee with the Superintendent. And I think we as educators, you know, we understand that it really is about being on the right side of history, about inclusion, about acceptance. And whether it's our African-American students who need support, whether it's our special ed students who need the right services, whether it's our English language learners who need the right support with language and content, or it's our students from the LGBTQ community, or like someone like me from poverty. At the end of the day, we provide services and we send the message of unconditional love and support for our children and for our students. So not only that we can abate and mitigate things like suicide, but also to have them really thrive in their own capacity so that they can contribute to our society, be members, and just have a much more fulfilled life. So thank you, Frances. She'll be joining us. She'll be around at our community schools breakout, which, next slide, please. We'll get to that shortly, but just want to give you a friendly reminder. Please take a snapshot if you have your cell phone, but our next Coffee with the Superintendent will be Tuesday, April 5th. It will be on Zoom if nothing changes right now. And so again, it'll be Tuesday, April 5th from 9 a.m. And at this moment, you know, we really do want your feedback. We review this feedback with our team. We present it to the executive team because our job is to make our services better for you. And so we do take it seriously. So you can either put your phone on it with the camera, you can click on the code for the link, but please take some time to give us the feedback because we really would like to hear from you. Next slide, please. And again, for any information, this is the information for our local district. We're at the Northwest at LAUSD.net. This is the main line, the 818-654-3600. We also have our email posted, which is local LDNW at LAUSD.net. And so now it is the opportunity for you to join us in a breakout room with your specific community of schools. Again, at the community schools, you will have the administrator, you will have personnel from operations and from other programs that are there to answer your questions. If you are not sure which community schools you belong to, this is a list. It's based on feeder patterns from the elementary to the middle school to the high school. And so you can look for here, you can search and find your school, and then shortly we'll present the links. You can click the links and you will be joining there. And again, the community schools administrator and their team will be there. So now we have it posted. We will also drop it in the link. So together we have Cleveland and the Kennedy Nos Voss. They'll be together in one group. In the other group, we will have Taft and Monroe. Those two community schools will be together. And then in our last one will be Canoga Park, Chatsworth, and Reseda, and they will be together. And so we will drop these into the chat. You can go ahead and click, and that's where you can join the teams, ask your questions, and an opportunity to engage.